Okay.
What was that?
That's how we signal that we're starting.
We're starting now.
We're recording now. This is a bold experiment.
Very.
First of all, we've got to remember to look at that camera whenever we talk to the crowd.
I almost flipped them off on
Don't
accident.
Hey!
We're a family-friendly podcast.
We are a very family-friendly podcast. We've never done this before.
No, I'm not going to look at the camera when I talk because it simulates how my eye contact works when I'm actually talking to you.
Yes, don't expect Willow to ever look you in the eye. That's fine. I haven't seen what her eyes look like in about 30 years.
That's how old I am.
That's how old you are.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my head is cut off on top because you are very small.
I am very short.
Like, we are sitting at roughly the same height, but my torso is much longer.
Yeah.
This is fascinating.
We haven't been together to record in a long time.
We haven't recorded together. We haven't recorded an episode in a long time. And, I mean, it's been months. Yeah. What was the last thing we recorded? It was the end of...
The end of The Dark Descent.
The end of The Dark Descent. It was that Philip K. Dick story.
Yeah.
And then we were like, we'll be back really soon with Defending Your Life.
And then... life didn't fall apart this time.
No, not at all.
Life became good.
Yes, a lot of amazing things have happened since then.
I got a job.
You got a job? You're about to get your driver's license?
Hopefully, if an appointment ever
opens up. Mitzi was bat mitzvahed. And that was a huge deal.
Yeah. Is that how you say that?
Bat mitzvah?
Bat mitzvah was
yes. Well, she was bat mitzvah. She was a bat mitzvah. She had her bat mitzvah.
Yes.
It's a reference to the everything.
All right.
I am pretty much a rabbi, so you can trust everything I say.
Definitely.
But welcome back. I'm Phil.
And I'm Willow.
And it's Del Toro time. It's Del Toro time, and we are back with the Ecstasy of Influence.
I was going to say the movie name. That's not what we're saying.
For those of you who aren't familiar, who are tuning in maybe because you heard that we were doing smash popular hit Defending Your Life, and are like, ooh, this is the kind of thing I love to see. There are chords everywhere. How did you put it? My chord management is what?
I don't remember.
Leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
For those of you who are just tuning in, we have been covering a list that Guillermo del Toro made called The Ecstasy of Influence. That is like the 100 most influential films on his career. It is, I would say, at this point, a very dated list.
It's also an odd list.
It's a very odd list.
Like, there are movies on here that make sense, but I'm surprised don't include other movies.
There are movies in here that on this list that he has talked about nonstop for his entire career, and movies on this list that he has never mentioned once that I could ever find.
That nobody's ever mentioned.
He has mentioned this movie.
That's good.
And what movie is it that we are looking at?
Defending Our Lives, as we said 4 seconds ago.
Nope, that is absolutely not what it's called. It is called Defending Your Life.
That's right.
Defending Your Life from 1990. This is an Albert Brooks joint. And if you're just here to watch the review, to watch us just chat our way through this movie, I'll put the timestamp right here, right over Willow's face. You looking at it? That's where the timestamp will be. Skip to there if you just want to see us watch the movie. But if you're interested in a little background, Willow, what can you tell us about Albert Brooks?
His name's Albert.
And? But it's not his real name. His last name is not Brooks. It's...
Barry.
Nope. It is
idea.
There's another very famous Albert who shares the last name that he really was born with. Very smart boy.
Einstein.
Albert Brooks was actually born Albert Einstein.
Yes. I remember because I made a joke about why would you saddle your child with that name.
Why would you saddle your child with that name? Albert Brooks was born Albert Einstein in 1947. He is part of a generation of comedians and comedy writers and comedy filmmakers who, they're boomers. They're boomer age comedians. They're all roughly my parents' age, born in the mid to late 1940s. So Jewish comedy in America is essentially American comedy. It is where we got comedy from, starting in vaudeville, basically. Yiddish theater, but then vaudeville, in English to vaudeville, and then this generation, Albert Brooks's generation of comedians includes like Carl Reiner, a little bit roughly the same age, like Steve Martin, Martin Mull, Harry Shearer, a lot of the people who are on The Simpsons, roughly the same age, people who are very old now, but who were hip, young, with it, and very attractive in the 1970s and 80s.
Far beyond my time.
Far beyond your time. Yep. Far beyond your yen, far beyond anything you could possibly care about.
Exactly.
Now, what's fascinating is this was his father's stage name.
Park Yak Cards. I can't say.
His father, Harry Einstein, was known on stage as Park Your Carcass.
Okay.
Get it?
That's
Park Your Carcass. He was a Jewish comedian, but he played a Greek on stage, a crazy Greek. So famous he was in movies as Park Your Carcass. Like he was just cast as Park Your Carcass. Kind of like Larry the Cable Guy is cast as Larry the Cable Guy. Park Your Carcass was known as Park Your Carcass. Park Your Carcass was a very popular comedian in his day, and he literally died on stage. Literally died on stage.
He parked his carcass on stage.
He was doing a celebrity roast, a Diners Club roast for Desi Arnaz Jr. and for Desi Arnaz and for Lucille Ball. He was sitting next to Milton Berle. He got up. He did a 10-minute stretch of comedy about the Diners Club, the Friars Club. He makes a joke about the Diners Club. He made all these jokes about the Friars Club. He killed it. People were like, Park Your Carcass is back. Oh my gosh. He sits down, has a heart attack, puts his head down in Milton Berle's lap. Milton Berle is all, is there a doctor in the house? Everyone laughs because that's a classic comedy joke. Mm-hmm. And they were like, the host is like, no, honestly, seriously, is there a doctor here? We think Park Your Carcass is having a heart attack. Does anyone have any nitro pills? Everyone has nitro pills because they're all of an age where they all have heart problems. They work on his heart for 2 hours. A doctor in the audience actually cuts into his chest to try to massage his heart. They take apart a lamp to turn it into a makeshift defibrillator. They can't save his life. He dies.
For 2 hours?
Yeah, 2 hours.
Why didn't they?
I don't know. That's the question people always ask when they talk. Why didn't you call a doctor? You're in a city. Why didn't you go to the hospital? He was pretty much dead by the time they got him onto the floor. He was pretty much done. But that incident, Albert Brooks, young Albert Einstein, was 10 years old when that happened. His older brother, Bob Einstein, was 16, I think. Changed their lives forever, as we will see in this movie.
And that's why Albert Einstein became a physicist.
That is not why Albert Einstein became a physicist, but it is why Bob Einstein didn't get into comedy for many years, because he always associated stage comedy with his father dying.
Who wouldn't?
Think about that before you make jokes about poor Harry Einstein. His mother was also very famous. Thelma Leeds, I think. She was an actress.
I've heard her name.
So Albert Brooks, he comes up. He's best friends with Carl Reiner's son, Rob Reiner, all throughout childhood. He's friends with Harry Shearer. He drops out of school. He drops out of to become a comedian. He starts making short films. He makes short films for the first season of Saturday Night Live. Next thing you know, he's making movies. He makes 3 movies that are all big hits. He makes this movie. Then he makes 3 more movies that aren't such big hits. But
was this movie a big hit?
This movie was a huge hit. It was a big hit.
One of the few on our list.
That's a big hit. Critical and box office hit. This movie, everyone enjoyed this movie when it came out. It did pretty well in the theater. We'll talk about that when we cover it. But it's worth noting that Albert Brooks is still kicking it. He's still around. He's still a good-looking guy. He appears in things every now and then. He makes guest appearances on The Simpsons. He shows up in his first film that he acted in was Taxi Driver. One of his biggest, most noticeable films of the last few decades was the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling, where he played a cold-blooded killer. He's done a lot of dramatic roles.
A lot of movies to do with cars. Taxis, driving.
He likes driving. He played the father in both Finding Nemo movies. He played Nemo's father. Yeah. So you recognize his voice. He's got a very distinct voice.
I didn't sound like Nemo.
Nemo, where's my Nemo? Where's my fish boy?
No.
Where is he? He's not related to James L. Brooks, even though people think he is, because his name is Albert Einstein. And in 1990, he'd been working on a screenplay for 2 years about the afterlife, and then he's like, let's get this thing done. Let's get this thing done. Sits down, makes himself a little movie called
Defending Your Life.
Defending Your Life.
I don't know why I want to make it plural every time.
Defending it because we all need to defend our lives. Because one day we're all going to die on stage. And it'll be very sad.
It's because life is a stage.
Life is a cabaret, old chum. Blame William Shakespeare. If you're, I hate that Shakespeare. Think you're smarter than Shakespeare.
I don't think I'm smart. I don't actually know anything.
I think you're
about
smarter than Bob Einstein.
I just don't like the phrase "life is a stage" because nobody's paying attention to what you do in your own life,
except for the people who are watching us right now.
My point stands.
Yeah. the ones of twos of people who will be enjoying this video. Are you ready to watch Defending Your Life?
I've been ready for more than a year.
All right. Yes. This is like our 4th time to try to watch this movie, but we are together. We're going to watch it.
We're using VLC Media Player.
Yes. Are you ready?
I've using this to watch movies since I was in the single digits.
I know. It's a classic.
Yeah, let's go.
I own the Criterion disc.
Yeah.
But I have it ripped onto my... I don't want it to sound... Never mind. Anyway, are you ready?
Let's do this.
Let's click play on this. 3, 2, 1, click. It's been clicked.
I'm sitting really awkwardly now.
Don't move. For God's sake, whatever you do, don't move a muscle. You're gonna bump this mic and we're all gonna be in hell.
I was driving away, honey.
When I first watched this part, I was so scared nobody was gonna laugh at his jokes.
Although she never used the word honey.
When I was a kid, I wanted hair just like his.
Really?
Yes, I loved tight curly hair. I thought it was so cool looking.
I mean, yeah.
I'll be home in an hour.
I can't say I relate.
I'm starving.
Did you ever have a phone in your car?
Hoover Dam broke.
My dad did.
I like this car.
It's not a car. It's a battering ram. This is what Patton drove. Hey, you, soldier. Follow us.
It's gorgeous.
I wish cars still had CD players.
Huge.
My car has a CD player.
Yeah, but your car is weird and
It
bizarre.
is. And old.
Yes.
What a cute.
I love all of the CDs.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at him go.
How many people has he called stupid so far? 2?
This is the Barbra Streisand Broadway album that I had. Are you surprised?
No.
There's something to anything. I will know right away, soon as it shows. I did not drive like this, though,
I would hope not.
while listening to show tunes.
No.
This is the most 90s. A guy rocking out to the Barbra Streisand Broadway album is the most 90s thing I can imagine. That means he had to have already secured this song before he started filming the movie.
What an idiot.
Don't do this,
I
by the
would
way.
never do this. Well, there's no
Don't
CDs.
do this.
There's no CDs to follow.
That's true. That's true.
That was a strangely slow car death. Like, it didn't look...
You don't have to go fast to die in a car crash.
I know,
You just
but-
have to go hard.
But the speed he was going didn't look like...
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But I guess that's just the movie magic. Rip Thorn.
I forgot Rip Torn was in this. He's in one of the best They Might Be Giants videos.
Yeah.
Can't Keep Johnny Down. Buck Henry, great comedy writer. We're talking all these guys from the same basic era. Who did the score?
Michael something.
Michael
Gore.
Michael Gore?
Maybe?
Michael Gore, you're making it up. You're just making up
I read
words now.
Michael. They just said who did the score. And it was
Michael Gore, Michael Jackson. You're right, Michael Gore.
Yes!
The younger brother of Leslie Gore, who sang It's My Party? And Judy's Turn to Cry, the sequel to It's My Party?
I miss when songs had sequels.
Yeah, they should do that again.
Welcome to Judgment City. We just had quite a little
That's a
journey.
terrible
Now
name.
Relax and enjoy the ride. Exactly why you're here and what you'll be doing will
Oh.
be explained later. For example, how many like to play golf? You won't be able to get your hands up just yet, but good. We have the championship golf.
My name is Stan. Because of what you've just been through, you'll want to go
Stan.
directly to your room and go fast to sleep. You're already checked in. You have nothing to worry about tonight. Everything will be explained to you in the morning.
Tonight.
Have a good
Yep.
rest. If you have any questions,
You have nothing to worry
I'm
about
here to help.
tonight.
Thank you.
No. I didn't like that one.
Yeah.
Judgment City seems like a pretty terrible place to be.
There's an irony in still needing an emergency exit in the afterlife.
Yeah. Do you think maybe that's needed or that's just there for comfort?
I don't know. They have captured blandness very well.
They have, yeah.
Sir?
That's Rip Torn.
Rip Torn. Rip Torn. That's just... Is that
It's a stage name.
Okay.
Lena Foster.
See?
That's it, Lenore. You tried, you failed. The game's over for you. Stay here, and someone will come get you. Stu,
Oh.
the decision is yours. Do you want to stop here or face your fear?
I'll face the fear.
He's facing his fear.
The Weather Channel. All the time.
Yeah.
What if somebody's ideal temperature isn't 74 degrees?
This isn't heaven, though.
That's true.
This is Judgment City.
This is purgatory.
Yeah.
Everything's completely neutral.
Good morning.
You should leave now.
These are the best eggs I've ever had. Ever.
Of course.
That sucks. He doesn't get to finish his breakfast. Hold on one sec.
All right.
Okay.
Are we making sure we were still
Just
recording?
making sure I'm still recording.
Yeah. Those clothes do look really comfy, though.
Motion because of the electronic field that's set up around the moving vehicle.
Oh.
It is very dangerous. Thank you.
A red tram.
What is danger in this area?
There's gonna be... If there's not a giant monster that appears in the middle of this movie, I quit.
I don't know if this is a monster type movie.
That'd be awesome, though.
Baragon.
Paragon. Hello?
So young.
What are little brains?
That's what we call you folks behind your back.
Okay.
Forgive me.
No.
Get over the Past Lives Pavilion.
What is that?
It's where you see some of the people you've been before.
What?
Yeah.
That sounds horrifying.
Ah, most people love it.
What if somebody goes and they see that they were, like, Hitler in their past life?
All right.
I don't
Take care.
know if Hitler would, like,
You like that
Did he just get
Qualify.
instantly
We love
deleted?
putting things in
I would
back.
think
Probably.
so, yeah.
If you
probably.
need to talk to me at any time, just call me up. I never sleep.
Never?
If everybody on Earth
Okay, I'll
uses
call
the
you
same
later.
amount of brain power, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't want to worry too much about the science behind this.
I'm worried about the science behind it, because I think they're lying.
It's a Kiwanis Club joke. It's funny but we don't get it because Kiwanis Club jokes don't exist anymore.
What is Kiwanis Club?
What is this, a white sale? Come on!
Is that Meryl Streep?
It is. It is Meryl
Folks,
Streep.
I'm
I
gonna
forgot
tell
she
you a
was in
story.
this.
About a year ago, this little brain comes in here. I'm talking, and this is documented, half a
God,
percent
she's
of
so
his brain
pretty.
at the most. He orders a piece of pie. He forgets what it is. He looks down, doesn't know what it is. Well, I know what it is. I'm looking, it's a piece of pie. I say, what the hell are you doing? He says, I'm waiting to make a call with me.
I don't understand the
You're on
joke
trial,
either.
not me, okay?
Who's this
How'd
guy? The opposite, I think.
You want to take a walk or something, or you want to stay, see the show?
Well, I have to. That's my dad.
All of a sudden, whoop, one of them cuts the cheese.
I'm kidding.
Backstory references.
I'm entertaining the 6 pigs.
Those clothes look so comfy.
He'll make a great baby in the next slide.
Oh, you don't have to worry about good or bad. Except for you do, I guess.
Yeah, so the notion that you're being judged based on how much of your life you lived in fear, I guess?
Yeah.
Like, that's...
I feel like if you're a mother, though, you spend most of your life being, or a parent of any kind.
Right, I don't know.
How you feeling, buddy?
I feel like they're just lying.
All right. Let's go. I can't believe it. I've done this a million times, and every time it feels like new. Here we are.
That's not good, man.
I don't know. If I was being defended by Rip Torn, I'd be pretty confident.
If I was being defended for the life I lived, I wouldn't feel confident. I'd be like, there's nothing to defend. I haven't done anything.
Leave it to you to greet me with that.
I love child mobs.
Chicken! Oh. too bad.
That was pretty good burn.
It was pretty good burn.
That's pretty good burn. Have to admire that kid with his spiky hair.
That kid was not plagued by fear.
No.
Actually, that kid is plagued by fear. That's why
He goes straight to heaven.
Yeah. I don't understand how this works.
He looked like Bart Simpson, though.
He did.
Tell us what you were feeling as you watched that episode.
It felt strange to watch myself. Is that what you mean?
No, I mean emotionally. What kind of feelings?
It felt weird.
No. This happens every time you drink.
Oh, please, lecture time! It's lecture time! Why don't you just sit down and join the lecture?
Please.
Don't touch me! Please, just don't.
The poor baby. The poor actor baby.
One brief
Could the baby act like that, or was the baby actually upset?
this child learned the meaning of restraint. He was
It's a good
afraid.
actor.
He was mature.
Just like all those horses
nonviolent,
in those movies.
They may believe it.
Do the good people get the better lawyers?
I can't tell. We haven't met her lawyer yet, Sam. And he's not a lawyer, he's a defender.
Not a lawyer, he's a defender. They just wear judge outfits when they
Right. So if you make it, do you keep living in here then?
Well,
No,
he
this
said
is
heaven
Judgment City.
exists. Maybe you can choose to?
I guess,
if
because
you
there's people.
hate yourself enough? Are these people also forced to work minimum wage in Judgment City?
Yeah, are they people?
Everything.
I don't know.
Everything.
Yeah.
What's this? Looks like a worm.
I'm not leaving. I'm just going to take a piss.
Take a piss!
What a hellhole.
Why do you have to still go to the bathroom?
Because it's not heaven yet.
I guess.
But also, they said that food wouldn't affect your body.
Hey, still gotta pee. I guess? Maybe he just likes going to the bathroom, and that's part of his deal. I don't know.
Maybe.
Mints? So many mints?
Hello?
Honestly, if I was gonna get a phone call from Meryl Streep, I would not go out for dinner. I would just be sitting by the phone.
Yeah, I would just be like, well, Meryl Streep's gonna call.
Now let me get this straight. You
I thought
actually
it was
had
Donald
sex
Trump for a
with
second.
Franklin?
Twice.
You really love this eating thing, don't you?
Be able to eat as much as you want, never gain an ounce, and feel great? Please.
It feels like you'd be missing something about eating.
I feel like I wouldn't want to eat.
Like the threat of fullness is part of what makes eating so adventurous. I don't know.
I just I'd be like, I could be doing other things right now.
Yeah, do you need to
I guess
eat?
you really couldn't be doing other things.
Yeah.
What else is there to do?
Eat and... Why do you have to wait in line? I just don't understand. I guess it's not heaven.
This reminds me of Disneyland.
Why does she want to kiss him so bad?
Because he's Albert Brooks.
I guess she's Meryl Streep.
And she's Meryl Streep. You don't question who Meryl Streep wants to kiss.
I'm questioning. I'm not questioning who Meryl Streep wants to kiss. I'm questioning why she wants to kiss his character.
Because he's her type. He's absolutely... Oh.
Welcome to the Past Lives Pavilion.
This is like out of a Doctor Who episode.
This is Shirley MacLaine, who is famous for
right hand on the plate next to
believing in past life regression.
An image of yourself
In real
former
life.
will soon appear.
People would have been
When
cracking
you
up
have
in the
seen
theater
enough,
at this point.
Simply remove your
Okay.
Does it show you like...
What the hell is this?
Time for supper, darling.
Be there in a moment, Mumsy.
What the hell's going on here?
Does it show them like right before they die?
I don't know, but that little girl...
That little girl should have just moved on immediately.
Right.
Which also doesn't make any sense.
You were a native?
Yeah, on a dress.
That's a...
That's all I saw.
That's so weird. You were a
That's a corn dog.
Not a hot dog, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
You're not that okay.
Love that for them. Golf.
Do you always win?
No, it's not heaven.
True.
We're tied.
Also, if you always won... Well, if they're tied,
You know what you
maybe?
never told me how you died? How did you die?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh.
Oh.
I would say that it's sneaky for him to write in a wonderful kiss with Meryl Streep into his own movie, except, as we'll discuss, she's in this movie because she wanted to be in this movie. And he had to rewrite this part for Meryl Streep.
She wanted to kiss him. All right, Meryl Streep. I see it, I guess.
You'll think great.
That's why she seems so much more into him than he does. Yeah.
Oh, did they?
I don't understand how this world works.
Yeah, why does she get the better hotel? I just don't get it.
Did she live in less fear?
I guess?
But that doesn't make any sense.
Because she hasn't been judged yet.
No, she's being judged right now.
But still, like, you get there when you get there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just he's Albert Brooks, so...
Clearly he doesn't deserve the nice.
Right, he's a schlub.
Maybe she was richer than him. Maybe it is really all about money.
Right.
I guess, like, if they're trying...
Good morning.
Thank you.
She has cheekbones for days.
I guess if they're trying to replicate what their what they would have existed at.
I guess.
But she was like she was a...
7, please.
I don't want to watch this. I hate public speaking.
But he's good at it. We know he's good at it. That's how it started.
Sardines. You ready? What? I can't do it. There's too many people. I just look. There's too many people. I can't go out. You gotta go. I can't go out there. Something's happened to me. This is way, way too many people. I'm having horrible stage fright. I can't go out there. Hey, you gotta go out there.
Peter, a lot of people are counting on you.
I can't
Come
do
on.
it. I'm gonna make a fool of myself.
No, you're
It's
not.
too
I
real.
can't do it. I can't do it. My heart
Yes, you
is
can.
racing. I can't do it. I am having some sort of anxiety attack.
Come on, you know this stuff. You look great.
Peter,
Let's
I
go.
can't think straight. Now listen to me. That's too many people. I don't want to go out there. You have to cancel this.
Let's go quickly. You're on.
He's having a little bit of trouble. Just give us a second, all right?
Let's go. You've got a full house. It's packed. Let's go.
It's really helping.
Make me do this.
I want to watch this. If I ever have to defend my life, this is going to be a compilation of me turning away from watching scenes in movies. This is worse than The Fly. I hate it so much.
He's wearing contacts. You can see him in his eyes.
Yeah.
Wow. Little glass contacts. He let himself down.
Your Honor,
Yep.
I would have shown to you. See you tomorrow.
No, I don't. Why does having a giant brain make you psychic?
Because you know everything, I guess. Like, if
But
you're
that
only
doesn't
using
make any
3% of your brain, maybe he is psychic at this point. The idea is, I guess, is that you're allowed to become so smart you move on to the afterlife? But they're not. Like, they're still in Judgment City. Why would you want to work there?
Well, because they're not using 100% of their... What the hell? Oh, she got her kids out. Maybe she was braver? I guess the truth is she was braver.
But does that count if you're getting your own kids?
It comes again.
Oh.
No, she goes back in. Which is stupid.
Yeah, you never do that.
Yeah.
She did save the cat. She's like Ellie.
Going back to the cat is wonderful.
What kind of
She's
cat
like
was it?
Ripley.
Persian. Oh,
The cat would save itself.
Ellen Ripley. For some reason, I wanted to call her Eleanor Ripley.
Eleanor Ripley. No.
I'm sorry for the delay.
But, like, people come from different lives.
Yeah.
So, I guess, again, they're not really...
I'm so hungry.
It feels weird because they seem to be judging him emotionally.
Right. But also,
Enjoy your meal.
we keep thinking of it as in terms of reward or punishment, but they're judging him to see if he's ready to move on.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But it feels like a weird metric to judge because what if somebody doesn't have to face a lot of, like, fear in their life?
True.
Pasta?
Very much.
I'm going to bring you 3 pounds of it, the best you ever tasted. You're going to love it. What about you, my friend? You like shrimp? Yeah. Well, we can make it so fresh you crawl up and put it in your plate themselves.
Aren't they high in cholesterol?
I don't know what you're talking about, but they hide everything. Don't worry about it. I'll be right back.
Don't worry about it.
Chris Pratt, ladies and gentlemen.
Dig in, eh? All right, but don't
I could watch a whole movie of Meryl Streep being delighted by things.
You should watch, what was the movie that she was in where she played the cook?
Mamma Mia.
No.
No, Julie and Julia.
Yeah, you should
which
watch
I have. She's very good in it.
Mm-hmm.
This is causing me trouble. Don't look, don't look, don't look. Don't look. Okay. Suck that up.
So she doesn't care what other people
Right,
think.
right.
That's what she said.
It's like the whole thing is a test.
Yeah.
I can't figure out if it's intentional or not.
It feels like even she's a test.
Right.
Like, because she doesn't seem to understand why she feels the way she does.
Yeah, like she's been placed there to see if he can respond.
Did Sam tell you anything?
I can take a situation and just make it okay. I've always
Part of me's like, is she going to get held back and he's going to, like...
I wouldn't think so.
Twist.
She's the killer.
what this is.
Her name's Julie in this one, too. I didn't...
Yeah, he is. She's good at playing variants on Julie's and Julia's.
Scene like you had today, I would feel differently. I'm sure I'd stay here. I'd never leave. But I've been defending myself so hard these last few days, and I just don't want to be judged anymore. I have this wonderful feeling inside of me, but I'm just tired of being judged.
It's okay. I'm gonna miss you.
I'm gonna miss you so much.
I love you, Daniel.
Oh, God, Julia.
I miss you.
What a weird situation to be in. I just can't stop thinking about what a weird situation they're in.
Yeah.
Like,
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
It's-
It's like a vacation, but is she gonna remember him?
right, their situation is very manipulated.
Yeah. It's
I don't think that she's in on anything.
no.
I don't think that she's lying.
No. I just don't think it's real.
But yeah, like clearly their emotions are manipulated because they don't care about their past lives. She's falling in love with him in like a couple of days.
And the guy said that we manipulate your emotions so you have no distractions.
Right. Yeah, how real is this? Plus, if your life goes on for eternity after this.
And if your brain is so advanced.
Right. Like, will any of this matter if he, like...
I believe that my final summation scene will prove to you that he has.
She's gonna bring up the dinner that she witnessed.
She's gonna have to.
Were not particularly.
Your Honors, at this point, I would like to show my final summation scene.
Proceed.
My scene takes place not there, but here.
What? What are we doing? We're showing something from here?
Yes, we are.
I was told we're
Is
not
that
doing
allowed?
anymore.
No one told you that, Mr. Diamond.
What are you seeing?
Something from last night.
Mr. Miller, please watch this and tell me what you were
No
feeling.
one told you that.
Last night?
It's of him killing someone.
Yeah, this turns into a murder mystery all of a sudden.
I don't think I can. I don't think I should.
Why?
Oh, because he almost said, "I'm
If a scene
afraid."
Like you had today, I would feel I'm just tired of being judged.
That's rough.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if it didn't feel so bad, like I feel like
You genuinely.
it's really bizarrely emotionally charged, and I feel like it would be better, like as a system, if it wasn't.
Right.
Your final summation, please. That's it.
It just.
Let's go back to my office and wait. We'll know in 30 minutes.
We know now.
They can cook a meal in 2 seconds, but they have to talk for 30 minutes?
I feel like it's not going to be 30 minutes.
Our fair city. We do a pretty good job here. How was that Italian restaurant?
What does it say?
You're going back.
Did my camera just take a picture of us?
No, I think that was somebody outside.
Just because they're sending you back, that doesn't mean that they're right. They can make a mistake. You shouldn't let others get to you like this. Just follow what's in here.
Do it. Follow what's in there. I don't know what that means. Does that mean we saw his past life getting chased by some kind of creature? Does that mean in order to move on, he would have had to turn around and face the creature?
I guess.
That's dumb. That's stupid.
Or maybe he only ended up in that situation because he was afraid.
That doesn't make any sense. Fear was a survival thing.
Follow the yellow line. Come on.
Follow the heart line
Follow
instead.
your heart.
This is the last test, because this has all been a test, maybe?
Or just start over. You won't remember this anyway.
I honestly would probably have started over. Like, yeah, you're right, I do have more to
Yeah.
deal with. Also, I don't know what awaits.
I get that it's Judgment City, but do they have to make it feel so judgy?
I know, right?
If they're just like, look, you got more to learn.
All personnel, please prepare for departure.
It just seems like a bizarre process to go to if they all already know their entire lives.
See you later! Well, what can you do at this point? What if he got run over by a tram in the afterlife?
What happens if you die? What
are you doing?
Yikes.
You've already been hit by one bus.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh god!
What happens if somebody in Judgment City hits someone with a bus?
He said you could get killed, so...
I guess if you die in Judgment City, you die in Judgment.
But wouldn't her bus already be like way?
I love you.
I love you.
Open this up! Damn it, open it up!
Please open the
Ah!
Julia! Wait for me! Wait for me!
Brave enough for you?
Open the door, please.
Now kiss.
Julia!
Now kiss!
Now kiss. Everyone kiss.
Julia!
Did she kiss him? I think.
This is like a one.
Everyone else on his bus is like, let us off! Ah!
This is like a once in a universe event or something, right?
Right.
Although they were all prepared.
Or does this just happen every time?
They just get some poor schmuck to fall in love with a beautiful woman.
Right. Meryl Streep is just everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it worked.
Okay,
I guess
great.
that's the end of the movie. Wow, it's just like, and we're done. We don't get to see like what happens. I guess we can't see what happens afterwards because that's the secret. Nobody gets to see.
Winters.
Game show contestants. Maxine Elliott. You were great in your one role. Lillian Lehman. Do you know her? That was one of his judges.
Ernie was played by Ernie.
What? I don't like that.
What was with
What?
the guy in the sushi place?
Who played him? I have no idea. I have to
What
look
was
at
up with him?
Yeah, what happened to him?
I assume he didn't move on. He had 15
Yeah, he
days.
had a lot of problems going on.
Yeah. What if like somebody's like a sociopath in their life and they don't?
Who played the cat?
That's a good question.
Right. What if you're an absolutely terrible person, but not like Hitler bad, but like sociopath bad?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like not like
Yeah,
Hitler,
yeah.
but you know what I mean. Like you have no moral compass, no moral code. You're totally self-serving, but you're very brave.
Yeah.
But does that matter? Like maybe they're like, it's not about good and bad. It's about
I guess if you get to the point of using 49% of your brain, good or bad don't exist.
Stops mattering, right?
Because you want to become a lawyer, which automatically makes you morally something
right.
else.
Okay, hold on. Let's take off our helmets. Let's talk about this.
All right.
Okay, so here we go. This is the part that people... Orchestration by Shirley Walker. Shirley Walker did all the She wrote all the music for Batman Beyond.
Oh.
She's dead now, but she had a great career. We love Shirley Walker. In any case...
Tom, book out.
Book out, everybody. Here
Larry
comes
Bird.
Tom. Larry Bird, why? When he wasn't shooting hoops, he was mastering properties on Defending Your Life. Big fan of Albert Brooks was Larry Bird. In any case, we just watched Defending Your Life.
We gotta defend it now.
We gotta defend Defending Your Life. Willow, first and foremost, why do you think Guillermo del Toro liked Defending Your Life? I know why.
Because it has Meryl Streep in it.
Because it does have Meryl Streep in it.
Because it was so bizarrely, like, what's the word? The word for when something looks human but isn't quite... Uncanny Valley?
Yeah, very uncanny.
It felt very dread-inducing for some reason. Like, just certain scenes felt very spooky.
So Guillermo del Toro says that this is like his favorite representation of the afterlife. Because it's non-religious, but it follows a set of rules. To him, this is like the perfect encapsulation of a non-religious afterlife. Like this sort of like, but it's not, okay, let's talk about afterlives.
Yeah.
So in the late 80s, early 90s, this was like a huge deal in movies. People were talking, like there was, the one that sticks with me most is Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
The concept of like the sort of bureaucratic afterlife. You're familiar with Beetlejuice.
Very.
Yeah. And so you have this like idea of like, well, the afterlife isn't really about a judgment. It's about this sort of like you're stuck in, it's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of bureaucracy. It's a lot of trying to sort things out and get from point A to point B. And that's really what Defending Your Life is about. If you had to summarize this movie, what would you say this movie was about?
A really normal guy dies.
Yeah.
And falls in love with a woman in the afterlife.
Yeah.
While being judged for having very normal responses to things. And then he throws himself out of a bus and gets into heaven.
And he gets or wherever. He moves on. So yeah, so the Defending Your Life, yeah. So he plays a guy named Daniel.
Yep.
Who dies in a car accident. He crashes into a bus.
Completely his fault.
And we find out that after we die, we don't get judged on whether we were good or bad. We get judged on whether or not we lived a life with or without fear. Is that fair?
No.
Right. Because you end up in...
It's not with or without fear, though. It's, like, overcoming fear?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if somebody didn't experience any fear, how do you know that they've overcome it?
Right. Okay. So the idea is that you get put on, not trial.
Not trial.
But you get judged. You're in Judgment City. Where you just sort of get to live for as many days as they've decided you'll need to defend your life.
I think it's like 4.
But that's like average, I guess, because he was on there for 9 days.
No, he was there for 4 days, but they showed 9 days.
That's what it is. That's right. Okay. So they choose certain moments from your life.
Did they show 9 days?
Yeah, because some of the times he was there, they showed like several examples.
But they showed many days because they showed a compilation of all of his failures.
But that will just seem to be for their own amusement. So the idea is that you get a defending attorney, but it's not an attorney,
and they're not defending you.
And there's a prosecuting attorney who tries to make the case that you've lived a life succumbing to fear, so you're not ready to move on, and what you're moving on to is unknown.
Yeah.
Because no one uses. The idea is that as human beings, we only use 3% of our brain. Once they decide you're allowed to move on, they open up your brain, or you get re-educated. You get to use more of your brain.
But not everyone uses the same amount of their brain.
Right.
So why?
And then once you're beyond that, once you get to open up your mind, you get to move on to like the next level of existence. So it's not really that death is like the end. It's just we're stuck on Earth because we can only use so much of our brain.
Yeah.
So death is more of a transit. That's another thing Guillermo del Toro liked.
Transition.
The idea that it's a transitional period. It's not the end of your life. Death, the afterlife, isn't like an afterlife. It's just a continuation. We're just going to crank up your perception. Now you can go on and experience something even better than what we had here on Earth, which apparently involves eating food that tastes like poop.
Because you can pertain.
You eat food that tastes like poop because when your mind is opened up, poop tastes really good. I couldn't really tell if the food actually tastes like poop or if it's just flavors that we can't comprehend.
It probably is that one.
But you're stuck in Judgment City, which is like a holding zone.
Yeah, it's like purgatory.
But you're not trying to like burn off your sins or anything. There's no sin taken into account here. It's all fear.
Which it seems like from what we watched,
yeah,
the trial is only part of the process.
Exactly. So you very quickly were like, this whole thing is a test.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a test?
Yes.
The whole thing was intentionally a test?
I think that I'm not entirely sure what was going on because I don't think that they would have fallen in love that quickly without some kind of influence.
Well, we know that they're so you die and your brain is like wiped of any caring it had about your previous life.
So that you're not distracted, which is what they said.
But you remember everything.
Yeah.
But you're like, I left behind a couple of kids, but oh well.
Once do you think that they continue to do that after?
Right. Like, was it just wiped and that's it? Like, so from now on, you just don't care about the people in your past.
What happens when they get, what happens if they come through?
If they die? I assume that what happens is the people you left behind will die and they'll eventually move on. And if you run into them, I guess, your brains will all be so open up you won't care anymore. Like, no one will care anymore.
So their love story is doomed.
I think moving forward, you're okay. Well, he and Meryl... Okay, so Meryl Streep is a woman he meets in the afterlife.
Yeah, and she died tripping on some patio furniture.
Right. She slipped and fell into a pool and she drowned. But she lived a life pretty... We only see one moment from her life. And
she had a daughter, adopted a son.
And a cat.
She had an unhappy marriage. And she got her family out in a house fire.
Right. So her house caught fire. She ran in and she saved both of her children, ran back in and saved the cat. So clearly she did the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that.
No.
But that's very brave. I would say that's brave.
I'd say it's foolish.
Foolish but brave. She didn't let fear overcome her. Again, he tried to justify his own fears by saying I was just being smart, and they're like, that's not the point.
But that is the point. That's the entire point they make, is that humans are dumb.
I think what's weird about this movie and fascinating about this movie, okay, you die.
I die.
No, I'm saying you die.
I die.
Right now.
Right this second.
Yes. And go.
Dead.
So you've died. You wake up, you're in Judgment City.
Yeah.
And they're like, Willow, we're going to now judge and see if you're really ready to move on. How do you think you do?
I leave.
You never show up for your appointment.
No.
Do you think?
No, I think that because I've dealt with so much anxiety in my life, I think that early on, there's a lot of examples of me not overcoming that anxiety, but especially now, I feel like there are a lot of examples of me pushing past my fears.
Okay, so if you had a good lawyer, the good lawyer would show more recent stuff to show that, like...
And I mean, like, even as a kid, I think I was pretty, like, good at pushing through things in spite of my anxiety.
So one of the things they show of Daniel is him being, like, bullied and not fighting back. And they get to use that against him. But is that fair? Because, like you just said, you're overcoming your fears...
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is that the lawyer the lawyer missed one day, and then the next day the other lawyer didn't show anything.
Yeah, I thought that the lawyer, Rip Torn, plays his lawyer, who's, I love Rip Torn.
Yeah.
He misses a day for a very obscure reason that doesn't make any sense. He's replaced by a guy who everyone's like, oh, this guy's great. But that guy doesn't do or say anything.
No.
And I assumed that this guy was going to, like, have some sort of trick, or it was all going to be, like, But as you said, a lot of this may have just been them testing Daniel.
I think it was. I think that because his fears seem to be really rooted in not like standing up for himself.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of the attitude and behavior was them trying to push him to stand up for himself to prove that he'd moved on from his fears.
Right.
Because she didn't deal with any of that.
So this movie is very subtle. It's a comedy.
Mhm.
It's very
It's
funny.
funny, yeah.
It's funny. Watching Albert Brooks just be funny
Mhm.
is a delight.
And
Like
it has
he's,
good jokes in it.
He's very effortless. He and Meryl Streep have such good chemistry
Mhm.
that watching them be delighted with each other is great.
You know what they should have drawn from?
What?
His lawyer should have pulled out the scene at the Laugh Factory or whatever.
Right.
Cause like he spoke, he made jokes, he played back with the comedian.
Right. It's funny because the first thing you see him do in this movie is he's talking to a boardroom of employees.
Yeah.
It's his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And he's getting their presents and he's being charming and jokey and delightful with everyone to the degree that I thought when you see him, he has to go up and give a public speech at one point, and that's one of his times when he like froze up. And I thought he was going to end up being good at it because I was like, oh, we know that Albert Brooks is really good at public speaking. We start off by seeing him speaking in public.
I think that like one moment that the prosecutor showed, I think that was where I was like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Because a gas leak happened. I mean, he didn't say anything, but at a certain point, there's nothing to show that he wouldn't have said something eventually.
Right.
Because he's good at what he does.
He has a low self-esteem. He believes that he was married to a woman who was too pretty for him. He believes that, like, you can see that, but there is that thing where Albert Brooks is so he's ready with a quip. He's funny. He's got friends.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is like them they're not trying to establish that he's a loser.
No.
He's just, the idea is that he's
I think part of it is they're trying to establish that the things that they show him being incapable of, he is capable of.
Right. And one thing that I kept having to remind myself is that this isn't a judgment about whether he's a good or a bad person. It's simply them trying to determine whether he's ready to move on to the next like level of human evolution.
It's bizarre because it seems like they're judging him.
Yes, because it's Judgment City. Like they literally call it Judgment City.
And they're very condescending.
Yes.
I feel like they're even more condescending than they're intentionally being, because the lawyer, Julia's lawyer, also was condescending to her, just in a different way.
Right. They don't consider human beings fully human. They call us little brains?
Yeah.
Because we're not smart like they are. And so there is that level of condescension. But as we asked throughout the movie, the people who are the judges and the lawyers and who work at the sushi restaurants, they are still there in Judgment City. They haven't moved on, but they are clearly big brain people. Do they get to make that choice? Were the sushi guys on Earth?
It really feels like they're stuck there because they still weren't ready to move on.
But we know that they've moved on because they have big brains.
But they're not using 100% of their brain.
I guess, like, is that the goal, to use 100% of your brain to become like sort of this otherworldly, non-human entity?
Maybe you get out of Judgment City, you go and you have like 20% of your brain unlocked. And then you spend some time there, and as you grow smarter and smarter, and then you go back to Judgment City and do a stint as a lawyer.
Right. That's the thing. So we don't know what comes next.
Yeah.
Like, we can't know what comes next because we're not smart enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the genius, I think, of this movie, is that we can only perceive it. We are only supposed to be able to perceive it through our level of perception. Like, there are games being played that we can't be aware of because we are not beyond that yet.
Like the weird guy who flirted with Julia at the restaurant when they were at the restaurant.
Right.
That was bizarre.
Right. There's things happening beyond our understanding in this movie, and I think that's part of the brilliance of what we're watching.
Yeah. It felt there was a moment between the two lawyers. I can't remember their names.
Yes.
Diamond and the woman.
Okay.
Where Diamond said, "Oh, that's something you don't have to deal with anymore, huh?" Like, it was like like he was poking at something.
Yeah.
And it felt like it was connected to that scene at the restaurant. Like, I feel like, I don't know, like...
Yeah, we see the prosecuting attorney at the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they... so Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep's characters fall in love because they have no ties to Earth, so they fall in love very quickly.
Yep.
And they have a scene at a restaurant near the end where she asks him to come back to her place, and he can't because he's afraid. And he's afraid that, like, either they're going to enjoy themselves so much and then he'll lose her and regret it, or he won't enjoy himself and then he will be like, well, that's just disappointment. And then he'll be stuck with that. So he's like, and that gets used against him in his final day of his trial.
Yeah.
But the prosecuting attorney is there and she's spying on him. Now, clearly this is a setup in a way. Like you said, I think this is the final test. But she also has a past. She has a history with his lawyer, with there's world building happening here, but under our eyes that we are not allowed to be. Like, we never get explained.
Was that man that was with her partner, and that's why she reacted that way when he flirted with Julia?
Yeah, we don't know.
There was definitely some tension there because she immediately started in on an argument that they definitely had several times.
Yes.
Never get in an argument with a lawyer.
So Meryl Streep is amazing in this.
Yeah.
She's so delightful. She is so, you were saying that, like, I said watching Meryl Streep be delighted by things, you could watch a whole movie of it, and you were like, watch Julie and Julia, which I've seen and is a very good movie. I'm a defender of Julie and Julia. I even like Amy Adams in it, even though a lot of people don't. I think that she plays flawed woman very well. So Albert Brooks worked on this screenplay for 2 years, and he was having dinner at his friend Carrie Fisher's house. He and Carrie Fisher came up together. Like, they're all part of that same 1970s young, attractive, and super intelligent people, because Carrie Fisher went on to be, of course, a great writer in her own right, screenwriter, script doctor. We love Carrie Fisher, R.I.P. He's there, and Meryl Streep is at this dinner as well, because she had worked with Carrie Fisher on Postcards from the Edge. And so, where she basically played Carrie Fisher's mom, like real mom. And so Albert Brooks is talking about this movie he's writing. He's like, it's about you die and you're being judged based on fear, and like how do you overcome that? And Meryl Streep was like, oh, is there a part in there for me? And he thought she was kidding, because he was like, there's no way Meryl Streep would ever want to be in one of my movies. And then, of course, he finds out that she's not kidding. That she really, and he's like, well, how do you approach Meryl Streep with a role? And they're like, and he says in an interview, he's like, Meryl Streep is the most humble, approachable actor. He's like, you think, oh, she's Meryl Streep, you're not going to be able to like talk to her about anything. He's like, instead, she's just sweet, and she just wants to work, and she wants to have a good time, and she wants to do fun movies, and she just was incredibly approachable. And so he rewrote the role for her. I guess the role wasn't supposed to be as big originally. Yeah. And he was like, no, this will be the crux of the story, is this relationship. So he rewrote the role entirely for Meryl Streep, and it shows. Like, it's the perfect.
She's really good in it.
She's delightful. We love watching Meryl Streep. Have you watched Only Murders in the Building?
No.
Meryl Streep she shows up in season 3 of Only Murders. And it's like a revelation. It's like you've never watched Meryl Streep before. Watching her in like the Mamma Mia movies, she's really good.
Yeah, I like the Mamma Mia movies.
Like, she's an actress who you watch her on screen and you're like, oh, she really likes what she's doing. She just really enjoys acting and having fun and like playing a character. And I feel like she would be good in a movie I wrote. So Meryl Streep, if you want to have fun, I'll write you a movie. You can do the movie based on this podcast.
Ah, yes, the podcast movie. That's definitely
that's literally what Only Murders in the Building is about. It's about a podcast.
Okay.
So yeah, I think you would enjoy it. You should. If you haven't watched Only Murders in the Building, it's hilarious and fun, and everyone in it is the age of like Albert Brooks. They're all like that. It's all about actors from that era.
All right,
like all coming up. Albert Brooks, sexy, not sexy, sexy man.
No,
good looking guy, very sexy man. We've decided. You heard it here first.
You can.
It's Del Toro time has decided. Albert Brooks, a very attractive man, still very attractive man. Meryl Streep has always looked like that.
She's beautiful.
She's beautiful, but if you looked at her today, she looks like she looked in this movie.
Yep.
If you look at her in the 1970s, she looked like she looked in this movie. I don't understand how Meryl Streep never gets older, but she was also never younger. She was always roughly 35. I don't get it. Albert Brooks, he looks different.
Yeah.
But he was svelte. He had the perfect male body in this movie. I want to go on record saying Albert Brooks was the perfect man in this movie. If I could look like him, I would give everything up. I would give everything up, my life.
You have to defend that one, man.
Defending my life. So you would never even show up at your trial.
No, I would. I would because they told me I had to.
That's right. And you think that you might stand a good chance because in recent year,
Yeah.
you've been like, I'm tackling these fears.
Yeah.
I want to live a life beyond fear.
I think one of the things that they would bring up against me is the Italy trip.
Okay, but
But I did actually get told by the doctor I couldn't go, so.
and
And I would have gone.
but even then, since then you've gone on trips.
Yeah, I left for a month.
Yeah.
Spur of the moment.
Yep.
That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I got really sick.
But hey,
that's fine.
that's not a judgment.
Yeah.
You've since applied for 1 million jobs, got offered 2 jobs in 1 week.
Yeah, I went to interviews. I didn't intentionally fail the interviews.
You met new people. You learned how to drive. I think you do really well in Judgment City.
I think I could probably also do a better job of defending myself than he did, because I'm not afraid to do that.
Right. He stumbled a lot. I think if I went to judge, I don't know if I went to Judgment
I think
City.
you would.
You think?
I do, especially after your show.
Wow.
I think you're too hard on yourself.
I am a little bit hard on myself.
I think that in recent years you've also like kind of started like coming up and like squashing those fears and punching them.
Yeah. I would say that if you're on any kind of like meds,
Yeah.
you should get out. Of Judgment City. You're fine. You're fine. You're all good. So this movie, Defending Your Life, the movie. This movie, scored by Michael Gore, brother of Leslie Gore, who recorded the song "It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to," and Judy's Turn to Cry, the sequel to "It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to." "It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to" is about a woman, a young girl.
Yeah.
Leslie Gore, by the way, open lesbian. We love that for her.
We love that.
She came out later in life. She had a longtime partner, wife. We love Leslie Gore. She was great. The song "Is My Party, I Cry If I Want to," Leslie Gore sings about how she goes to a party, her boyfriend is there, kisses another girl. So even though it's her party, she starts crying. People are like, what's the matter with you? And she's like, it's my party.
What's the matter with you?
And I'll cry if I want to. Then she writes a song, Judy's Turn to Cry. And these songs were both produced by Quincy Jones, by the way, father of what's her face?
Junie B. Jones.
Not father of Junie B. Jones. Father of Rashida Jones, star of Parks and Rec. The follow-up song, Judy's Turn to Cry, mostly recounts what happened in It's My Party. It's just a recap. She's like, here's what happened in It's My Party in case you don't forget. And then she's like, but now something happened with Judy, the girl who stole her boyfriend, and now it's Judy's turn to cry, Judy's turn to cry, Judy's turn to cry. But then the next verse, she just recounts more of what happened in the first song. It's the weirdest sequel. It's like if you watched a sequel and like 90% of it was just a recap of the previous movie. My camera keeps taking pictures of this. I don't know why. I think it's because I smile so much.
That's terrifying.
Or not.
You shouldn't do that.
So it was scored by Leslie Gore's brother, Michael Gore. You noticed that.
Yeah.
He also did Terms of Endearment, Pretty in Pink, Broadcast News. He wrote additional music for Broadcast News.
We need to talk about something.
But another Albert Brooks movie, by the way.
There's something we haven't mentioned yet that I think needs to be discussed in depth.
What?
There's a scene where he's watching the television.
Yes.
And there's a game show that comes on the TV.
Yes.
Called Face Your Fear.
Yes.
Greatest Fear.
Face Your Fear. Yes.
What was that?
So the TV in this afterlife only shows featuring people in the afterlife.
Yeah.
First of all, if you face your fear on the game show Face Your Fear,
do you automatically go for it?
How do you get on this show? How are you in the afterlife long enough?
Because they were wearing the white outfit, so they were definitely...
yes.
Yeah.
So, yes, that raises the question, like,
Is that another test that somebody has to go through?
does everyone get the same defending your life treatment, or are some people like,
Well, because
you're going on a game show?
Okay, here's what I think how it works. Because it's a game show, right? There were
Okay.
2 contestants. One person lost. I think maybe the prize of that is getting either the opportunity to face your fear or not face your fear.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the prize is if you do this, if you win and you face your fear and you do it well, you just get to go on. You don't have to go through
I
the rest of the
assume,
trial.
yes. And if you don't, you go back to Earth.
Or if you don't face your fear, maybe you go back to Earth, or you just have to go through the rest of the trial.
From the look on that woman's face, I would say that she just has to go back to Earth and that she knows it. Like, that's I would say that's, so it seems like you get to this place and you're assigned, like, he gets put in a really shoddy motel. Like, it's not terrible, but it's just sort of a bland motel.
It's like a hotel you'd see in the Supernatural episode.
Yes. Meryl Streep, however, is in like a luxury hotel. Now, clearly some kind of decision was made before they were assigned to these based on their lives, based on the tests they needed.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
Like,
we don't know.
If it was all organized and like if they were like pushed together by the system or whatever, it kind of feels like that was a test to see if he'd ask about it.
Yes.
Like, why am I getting treated differently if there's no like...
Right. He should have, if he had kicked up a fuss, if he had been a Karen of some sort, like, because this isn't about you being a good person.
No,
it's about you facing your fear. He's the kind of guy who just kind of lets things roll over him, which served him okay in life. Like, we see one of the funniest moments is he practices with his ex-wife, or she's his wife at the time, asking for a raise, demanding a raise of his boss. And he's very confident, and he's going to demand like no less than how much?
65,000.
65,000. He walks in, his boss is like, how about 49,000? He's like, great, shakes his hand.
Yeah.
And they're like, you didn't even stand up for yourself. He's that kind of guy. But he says, he's like, I still got a good amount of money. He's like, I had a good enough life. Like, and that's their point, is they're like, yeah, but you didn't fight for what you wanted. You let your fear kind of dictate where you went. I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
It's not a judgment so much as like, they're like, you can get better and then you'll be so much better off in the afterlife.
Which is bizarre because it feels like it rewards terrible, terrible behavior.
It can do that.
Like a CEO or like Jeff Bezos would just automatically move on.
But if the afterlife isn't about reward, if it's just like, we're just looking for people, we just want people to expand their minds, that's it. Like, there's more life after this. And we only want people there who are ready to have their minds expanded.
It feels weird though, because I feel like there's 2 different types of not being afraid.
Right.
I feel like there's doing things in spite of being afraid. Like if going into a house fire to save your cat.
Yeah.
And then there's doing things because you're not afraid and it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like stealing money from people.
It does feel like it's hard to pull myself away from the notion of heaven and hell, like a reward versus punishment. But I think that's what Brooks really wants us to do, is like say like,
it doesn't
this isn't a movie about that. Yeah. This is a movie about overcoming the thing that's holding you back. And what I found very fun is at the very end, he's being sent away. He's being sent back to Earth on a tram.
Yeah.
And Meryl Streep is being sent on the tram to the afterlife or whatever comes next. And he tried to say, I love you, but he couldn't. He called and left a message for 2 Julias because he doesn't know her last name. He says, I love you, but even that's kind of like wishy-washy. And he's sitting there on the tram, and finally he's like, screw it. And he unbuckles his seatbelt and he breaks out of the tram, which doesn't kill him.
No,
even though
it does hurt.
It does hurt, but they did say this is like a life-threatening thing if you get out. But he runs across traffic to get to her tram. And it's a very romantic comedy ending. Yeah. It's very much a running through the airport ending. And I love that it's a statement as well on the notion of a romantic comedy. The notion that people in romantic comedies don't act like normal people.
No.
Because they don't, ultimately romantic comedy is about not letting your fear, is about just overcoming all of your qualms and fears and just throwing yourself at another person.
Yeah.
And so in a way, this is also a movie about the kind of movie it is. It's a movie about romantic comedies. It's a movie about romance and like just saying like, sometimes you just gotta say, screw it. throw caution to the wind, jump out in the middle of traffic. And yes, that wouldn't work in real life, but there's no consequences here.
No.
There's no death here. So you can just throw in a romantic comedy, there's no death either. There's no, the only benefit is that the only risk is that you wouldn't get the person. And that's kind of what this is. I don't know. It's fascinating.
It's a bizarre movie. It's a good movie, though. I liked it.
You know what's awesome, though?
What?
Having this conversation in person.
It's really
so we're not fighting Zoom. It's kind of really cool. I was like, oh, this is really neat. Like, so this movie, it cost $16 million to make. No, it made $16 million. I don't know how much this movie did make. The movie did really well. It was received really well. Had 1,000 extras. $200,000 of the budget was on extras because they just filled this place with extras.
A lot of old people.
Has I know you hate Rotten Tomatoes, but it does have a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's inventive, whimsical.
And there were still moments in it that were really creepy.
Yes. Because it's an uncanny situation.
It's an uncanny valley situation.
Roger Ebert called it funny in a warm, fuzzy way with a splendidly satisfactory ending, which is unusual for an Albert Brooks film. He says that, which, okay. So they call out that there's, at the end of the 80s, early 90s, we had Dead Poet Society, Field of Dreams, Ghost, and Defending Your Life. And they're all movies that dealt with regret, how you lived your life, what happens to you after you die. And like they said with Dead Poet Society, this notion of like just not being afraid to seize the day and just being like, I'm going out there and I'm going to get what I think I deserve. And I think a lot of that was coming off of the Reagan 80s, coming off of, we had these boomers who were making movies who are now at this point in their like 40s and 40s and entering their 50s and just being like, have I lived the life I wanted to live? Have I given people what I want to give? But most importantly, have I lived the life I wanted to live? And they're still young enough that we can look at what they're doing and go, yeah. Like it doesn't seem... Albert Brooks said that he wanted to make a movie about looking inward and taking care of yourself in a way that was being made fun of at the time. That yuppies were all like very self-centered. And he was like, no, there is a benefit to looking inside yourself and saying like, what can I do to fix myself? What can I do to... am I who I want to be? And at this point, people were like poo-pooing that notion of therapy, of like, ugh, like that's what the yuppies do. That's what they didn't call them boomers yet, but that's what the boomers do. And Albert Brooks saying there's a lot of value in looking inside yourself. And I think that's true. I think that's what we've been doing.
Yeah. I think, I feel like we're at a point in modern times where that is sort of changing. Like I feel like people are far more focused on outwardness. Social media, blah blah, old humbug, whatever. But I feel like people are far more focused on what they're doing in other people's lives rather than their own.
But I also think that we're able now to take what this movie was doing and also say, how does this affect everyone as a whole? Like we look at mental health.
Like I feel like if this movie was made today, there would be they wouldn't have used maybe the bully schoolyard example because I don't think people would have been like, yes, punch that child.
Right.
Like I feel like that would have been an example not used. Like it would have been standing up for somebody else maybe.
Yeah.
Failing to do so.
Well, in a big way, this movie was made today because there was a whole TV series called The Good Place.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very influenced by this. And if you've never watched The Good Place, it's 5 seasons. It tells a complete story. It is, have you watched it?
No.
Highly recommend it. And it touches on a lot of the things this movie touches on, depending on how it touches on. It comes at it from a different angle, but it is very much about like, it's not always about being good or bad. It's about the kind of life you lead and want to lead and can you grow after death and like things like that. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. It's delightful, tearjerker, very romantic, and one of the funniest things that was ever put on television. But I think we've defending your life pretty well.
I have a question.
What is your question?
If you're born again and again, does that mean that you're always a sociopath in all of your life? Like, I just don't understand how that works.
Willow, I think you're asking the wrong question. The sociopaths immediately go on to the next level.
That's true.
The sociopaths are going to do okay. It's the non-sociopaths that have problems.
I want to...
Sociopaths don't get reincarnated. They're automatically big brains.
I want to ask Albert Brooks this question. Albert Brooks, answer this question, please.
I thought you were going to say I want to ask Albert Fish, the serial killer, this question.
I want to ask... I want to ask Albert Brooks. Albert Brooks, do the sociopaths immediately move on?
Yes, we know that kids don't get judged. They automatically go on.
Or do they automatically get sent back? Is that what it was?
They go to hell. So,
There's no hell.
So, we know that Guillermo del Toro likes this movie because of his representation of the afterlife, and it's the notion of like it's just a beautiful film. Like it's a cool film. It's a cool film. But Willow, what's next?
I don't know.
What is the next cool film?
Is it Nightmare Before Christmas?
God, no.
I don't know what it is.
It's not Nightmare Before Christmas. Next up on The Ecstasy of Influence, which we will do.
Yes, in a timely manner.
We're coming back to good fella himself, Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese is back on the show.
We're gonna get killed by the Italian.
We're going to get murdered by the Italian. I was going to get murdered by an Italian anyway. That's my end. Martin Scorsese is back on the show with one of his absolutely not about gangsters, but totally about New York stories, The Age of Innocence. The Age of Innocence! A movie that everyone hated when it came out, except for Guillermo del Toro, I guess.
Maybe he didn't see it when it came out.
But that people have reevaluated in recent years and gone, oh, we were just disappointed because he wasn't writing about he wasn't making movies about gangsters anymore. The Age of Innocence, based on the novel The Age of Innocence, the first woman to win the Pulitzer Prize in Literature, The Age of Innocence. A book that I loved, read recently, and absolutely adored.
I have to read. It's sitting by my desk at work.
I loaned you a copy. And when I handed the copy to your mother, she said, I probably have a copy of this here because it's a common book. The Age of Innocence, we will also be taking a look at in a future episode, so stay tuned. The new Chuck Hogan, Guillermo del Toro serial books. They are difficult to get your hands on because you don't like to read ebooks, and they're only available in ebook format.
I'll figure it out.
They're only 30 pages long
Just
each.
print them out.
You can read them on the toilet. But I hope that this turned out okay. I hope that this ends up going up in a way that is satisfactory.
It will.
Because this is a bold experiment on our part.
It is.
But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear more of me, tune in to Deep in Bear Country, a Berenstain Bearcast, where I talk about the Berenstain Bears. If people want to hear more of you, where do they? They won't. You would never hear more of her.
No.
Except on this show.
Except on this show and sometimes on your other show.
Sometimes on my other show. Sometimes you come on, you talk about tic-tac-toe.
I don't even post on social media anymore.
Yeah, who cares? It's for chumps. It's for chumps.
No, never mind. I was going to make a joke, but I can't make that joke.
If you want to read a good book, I have this book on Douglas Adams. It's a good book. That's it. That's all I have to do.
If you want to know about health insurance, you can ask me some questions.
Call Health Partners. Maybe you'll get Willow.
You won't.
You won't at all. It's luck of the draw.
Yep.
And don't ask for her. That'd be weird.
It would be weird. Also, not allowed.
Right. Also, don't call Health Partners. I'm going to bleep that out. Bleep it out. Bleep it out.
Bleep.
Bleep it. Also, if you want to see Defending Your Life, get
Watch
the Criterion edition. Highly recommended.
Always get the Criterion edition if you can.
There was a fantastic documentary about Albert Brooks called, I think, Defending His Life, I think is what it was called. It came out just a few years ago, made by Rob Reiner, one of his best friends. Watch it. You'll learn a lot more about Albert Brooks than you ever thought. He also did a bunch of follow-up interviews on podcasts about it. Like, Albert Brooks, fascinating. Watch his movies. Watch the one about the people and watch the other one. They're all good except for the bad ones, just like Rob Reiner's movies. Otherwise,
most people's movies.
Just like most people's movies. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
And I'm Phil.
And I'm Willow.
And we'll see you when it's Del Toro time.
I will never make eye contact with the camera, ever.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.